Shit. Okay. At least we started now. Okay, so I know that the mentally ill are more likely to hurt themselves than to hurt someone else. That's just statistically speaking, and that's just knowledge of mentally ill. That's in contrast to, I think, the layperson's use of mentally ill, which people use that term a lot, just having no idea whatsoever what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think they use it in a very loose way, like, oh man, you had to be mentally ill to shoot that many people or to do this or to do that. Right? That's just a very common, you know.
Well, is sociopathy a mental illness?
I'm not going to get into any of that stuff because I have no idea. I'm not
I
going to
don't
speak.
either.
I'm not going to speak. I'm not going to speak on it because I don't know, and I don't know what you have to. I don't know what the
I don't even like mental
parameters.
illness. I prefer, have mental health issues. But
Sure,
I don't know
sure.
that which one is politically correct or if it even matters. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, certainly, mental health issues sounds more compassionate if one of them were preferred over the other.
Mm-hmm.
But again, what I do know is that folks with mental health issues are more likely to hurt themselves than to hurt other people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's A. And then B, and I think this is the part that we all know, is that police are just not equipped to assess the threat situation and to handle it accordingly. Now, I don't know what the numbers are for white folks experiencing mental health issues who, you know, um, interact with the police and what happens. I can only assume, based on the fact that black folks get shot and killed at a much higher rate, that those rates are probably the same or still exaggerated for black folks. But I really don't know. Maybe cops are just, anything that they deem erratic maybe will cause them to act with force. I can't say. But what I can say is certainly if you're black and you have mental health issues, interacting with the police is not going to be a great idea. And I can definitely say they're certainly not equipped to handle that. And that there have been attempts to educate people to call someone else besides the police if you're dealing with someone who's having some sort of mental episode.
Okay.
And even if you try to tell the 911 operator on the phone, listen, I think blah, blah, blah was the situation. So even if you try to tell them and take that into consideration, I don't think that matters because you're still passing it off to someone in the field who is going to react.
Right. Well, the guy got shot. He's alive. He's in the county hospital. It looks like, and I don't know because I didn't read any further into it, and I probably will. Looks like he was shot in his arm. I know in the video that I shared, he was seated, and it looked like they were applying pressure to the wound. So there's that. Did you get a chance to watch the video?
I didn't see it.
Nah, maybe I should have tagged you.
Yeah.
Either way, it's certainly on my page. Not even buried deep because it might have been the last thing I posted. So it's definitely probably not even buried deep on my page, but it's on my page. It definitely appears like they're applying pressure to a wound. What is going on here? I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out why there's no uniformity into my work here. Sorry.
So what happens after a shooting like this? Do the police immediately hop on and ask for someone to come, or
What do you mean?
like, after a shooting, do they like immediately call for an ambulance, or?
Yeah. If they shoot you, they call for the ambulance. For sure. I've seen it multiple times.
Right.
In most of these shooting videos, I see an ambulance getting called.
But there have been some exceptions where people were hurt and they never actually came to help the person, right? Who was the famous case where they said the body laid in the street for like well over a day or something?
Really? They killed someone and just left them in the street?
Let me see if I
No.
can. Let me see if I can pull it up. I didn't say they killed him, but let me see if I can pull it up.
Well, I mean, I just made that assumption because the body laid in the street. Like nobody. That's not just on the police, then, in my opinion. I mean, the police absolutely, but not just the police. If the person was shot and laid in the street for over a day, a lot of people, like, there's a lot more than just the police. Like, what are we doing here? What type of community is this?
Okay, Michael Brown lay shot in the street for 4 hours in the middle of Ferguson Street.
Really? I didn't know that.
At least 4 hours after he was shot by a police officer, the body of Michael Brown lay in the middle of Canfield Drive.
Were the police on hand? They didn't just shoot him and leave, right? Are you there?
I'm reading.
They didn't just shoot him and leave, right?
I'm reading. I'm trying to figure it out.
This guy laid in the street for 4 hours, and the police weren't there. Man, there's some other stuff needs to be taking place in that community as well.
So, officers, St. Louis County Police Department, which almost immediately took over the investigation, had officers on the scene quickly, but its homicide detectives were not called until 40 minutes after the shooting, according to county police logs, and they arrived around 1:30 p.m. I have no frame of reference as to what that means because the original time's not there. It was another hour before an investigator from the medical examiner's office arrived. And officials were contending with what they described as sheer chaos on Canfield Drive. This sounds like an excuse. Where bystanders, including at least one of Mr. Brown's relatives, frequently stepped inside the yellow tape, hindering investigators. Gunshots were heard at the scene, further disrupting the officers' work. What? That sounds like complete and utter bullshit. Usually they go straight to their jobs. Officer Brian Shellman, a county police spokesman, said of the detectives who process crime scenes for evidence, they couldn't do that right away because there weren't enough police there to quiet the situation. Part of the time, Mr. Brown's body lay in the open, allowing people to record it on their cell phones. A white sheet was draped over Mr. Brown's body, but his feet remained exposed and blood could still be seen. The police later shielded the body with a low 6-panel orange partition, typically used for car crashes. Experts in policing said there's no standard for how long a body should remain at a scene, but they expressed surprise at how Mr. Brown's body had been allowed to remain in public view. Asked to describe procedures in New York, Gerald Nelson, a chief who commands the patrol forces in much of Brooklyn, said that as soon as emergency medical workers have concluded that a victim is dead, that body is immediately covered. and then et cetera, et cetera.
So they were on the scene. It's just his body was exposed for some hours.
Well, I mean, I can only say what I read there. It's not I don't know how conclusive that is.
Well, no, it seems pretty conclusive that they were there the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, 12:01. Darren Wilson shoots Mr. Brown dead a few moments later after seeing him and his friend walk. And then the other officers were summoned, including Tom Jackson, the chief of police in this town of 21,000 people. Officers began arriving around 12:15, according to police logs. So yeah, it sounds like they were there.
So I guess the outrage came from his body being visible. I mean, I'm sure the outrage came from him getting shot in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, there were plenty of things that people were not happy about. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think his case is exceptional, for sure. And I don't mean the shooting. I don't think that's exceptional. It just happens. Not that it's not. I don't mean it like that. I mean that's what happens to us. You know what I mean? When we deal with police officers, there's a high risk of us getting shot. I think you don't often hear of these cases where victims are laying out for four.
Yeah, I certainly can't say that I've heard that as being the norm, though.
Right.
I remember not being surprised, as in, it just didn't seem like.
You remember not being what?
I remember not being surprised.
See, I didn't. I'm only really hearing about this right now.
Yeah.
I didn't know the circumstances. I was kind of not fully in touch with the entire circumstances of that situation, like all of those details.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose the lack of surprise, it's consistent with the way that we're treated in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he was treated as less than a human being. So keeping him in the street like an animal was consistent with shooting him like an animal.
I mean, I don't know. I think maybe that's kind of harsh.
I'm well beyond. I mean, that's as tame as I can keep it.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm not. It's not a critique. It's just an observation from my perspective.
I mean, whether or not they were thinking that consciously or not, certainly on a subconscious level. I mean, I've seen videos where they shoot dogs who haven't done anything wrong, and as someone who loves animals and someone who used to be afraid of dogs when I was younger, I pride myself in being able to read them to a certain extent. I'm not saying I'm like a dog whisperer or anything, but
that's what it sounds like you're saying.
No, just to a certain extent. But dogs have telltale signs, or when they're being aggressive. And these cowards that shot these innocent dogs down, when they're the ones that busted into this house, and the dogs weren't even defending their territory, let alone being aggressive. I mean, these cowards didn't even have the training to understand when there was a threat. one point, it's really sick because they're almost like, they're like lying to the dog saying, hey, it's okay. Like, you're going to be okay. And then like killing the dogs. Like, it's a sick video. But that is to say, I don't feel like we're being treated much different than some wild animal that it's better to shoot and be safe than sorry. Especially when you have other instances like the situation I was reading to you earlier where the white guy brandishes a gun, steals from a store, gets visited by the police the next day, and then goes from handgun to an AK-47, which he brandishes and escapes with, I think what was a bullet to the leg and a bullet to somewhere else, bullet to the buttocks, and lives to tell the story.
Well, I mean, obviously there's clearly a contrast for sure. For sure. You'll get no argument from me there. We're on the same team.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I just don't know how else to say it. Like, they're not being treated like, we're not being treated like animals. I don't know what we're being treated like. But maybe that's wrong to say because animals, perhaps get treated with some compassion.
Yeah, it's a crime if you harm a police dog, right?
If you harm a police dog, not if you break into someone's home and start shooting their dogs, apparently.
Right. Right.
And it's like, they realize this is on video, right? Like, I mean, I'm surprised that, like, PETA or someone hasn't, like, stepped up and A, complained, but B, like, offered, like, hey, you obviously need serious training. Let me show you some simple ways to, like, recognize what's what. Oh, no thanks. No thanks. We got this. We'll just, shoot first and ask no questions.
We'll just kill the dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad because I think that in some cases, not all, but certainly in some cases.
Wait, just 1 second. I'm trying to see who this is calling me. 1 second. Hello?
Hi, am I speaking to Mr. Michael?
Okay, sorry about that. Are you still there?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
That
about
was
to say
weird. That was McAfee calling back.
Yeah, you're definitely more trusting than me.
What do you mean?
Because I never trust them. I done had Microsoft call me and tell me stuff, and I'm like, okay. They're like, no, we need to check this because, we believe that your network got infected. And I'll be like, all right, I'll call you back. No, we need to do. Okay, well, if you're really who you say you are, then I am going to hang up and I am going to call Microsoft back. And it's always never mind. Like, okay, I'll call you back. Because I don't believe you at first. Because I just know people get your information and one of the easiest way to scam people right now, the easiest way to scam people is just to straight up ask people for their information. It's the easiest way.
Well, I didn't give them any info.
Right. But sometimes, and I'm not saying that you did, sometimes our browsing history, the things that like Microsoft used to just call me all the time, like once or twice a month. And I had once or twice a month.
That's
and I
strange.
knew, talking about they needed information because my network, Microsoft tracks something to my network, through my computer that, they're always trying to keep intranets and what have you from being infected with certain viruses. And
you don't think that was actually them, do you?
Absolutely not. I just told you, I'm like, okay, I'll call you back. I'll hang up and I'll call you guys back.
Right.
If the issue is what you say it is, someone from Microsoft will be more than ready to receive me and deal with the issue, just like you reached out to call me.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? And then it always goes left from there on their end. They get upset and No, we need you to deal with this now. No, I'll call you back.
That's very odd.
I'll hang up and call you back.
It's like we need you. Like, I thought you were calling to help me. Why do you
Right.
sound so thirsty for
Yep.
my time?
Yep.
If anything, it should be like, okay, sir. It might be a wait when you call back, but thanks for your time.
Yep. Yep. I say it all the time. I will call you back. If anything that I'm not weary of, they tell me the name of the organization. Oh, you're calling for the IRS? Okay, call you back.
Yeah, and they
Like I
and they never call you. The IRS.
right. They don't call you. You get a letter.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Have these random phone calls increased within like the last 4 years?
No, they've decreased.
Okay.
For me, I don't get them anymore. Maybe I do, but I don't answer my house phone because it's if someone's
they're on your house phone.
yeah, no one's calling my cell phone.
Oh, I get these calls on my cell phone, but I don't have a house phone.
Yeah, I don't answer the landline. Not that I just never even look at the caller ID because anyone that's calling me for an important reason is going to be calling my cell phone. We just keep a landline just in case.
Mhm.
As a solid backup in case, sometimes cell phone towers, they have the potential to go down or, whatever, what have you.
Mhm.
One backs the other up. Landline
Yeah.
doesn't work cell phone doesn't work landline. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So we just kind of keep it as like a backup. But, we'll probably always keep a landline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't use it. I never pick up the phone. Well, sometimes I do. Every once in a while, I may pick up my house phone and use it. But for the most part, I don't use it. I don't answer it. It rings probably twice a day.
Right.
I don't even go look at the caller ID. No one's calling for any bill that I need to pay. They're gonna either, deal electronically with my wife, or they're gonna call the cell phone number.
Yeah. I guess those issues are totally different if you don't have a landline. Because I get all these calls on my cell phone.
Yeah, I don't. Every once in a while, I'll get a call from my cell phone, and it'll be some weird, and I'll just be like, nope, and hang up.
These damn 716 calls.
Yeah, 716. There's a lot of collection agencies here.
Well, there's a lot of scams too, but it has nothing to do with 716. It has to do with your. It has to do with your zip code.
Yep.
I mean your area code.
Yeah, you still have a 716 area code.
Yeah. So they think they're using a familiar number to get to me.
Yep. You're not. And again, that all falls into exactly what I started this conversation with. The easiest way to scam people is to ask them for information. You'd be surprised what people are willing to give.
Yeah.
Social media is very indicative of that.
Yep.
Like I used to say, I haven't said it in a while, so I can't say I often say, but I used to say quite often that people will give more information on social media than they're willing to give to the U.S. Census. Like sometimes there's information that people give out on social media. Like if the police knocked on your door and asked you for the information, you're not going to give it to them just because. You know what I mean? Just because. And yet here you are on social media volunteering. You know what I mean? What a world we live in, huh?
Yeah, there's a documentary on Netflix about the insidious nature of social media and how it's specifically made to be addictive, and it has people that they interview on there, like people who created the like button and like all these other people. I watched a few minutes of it. It seemed interesting, but I didn't really get into it too much. But it talks about all the social media issues.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, social media is. I mean, I at one point in time, I'm not going to say the name on air, but at one point in time, an essay that I was going to write, I guess you could call it an essay. It probably would have been like a very short, less than 100-page novella,
Uh-huh.
was about memes. I'm not going to tell you the name on air. I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
Very, very clever name that no one's used yet. That's the reason why I don't want to tell you on air.
Sure.
A very, very, very clever name. And it was just about, human psychology and memes and, the impact that memes seem to have on people, positive and negative. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
how people actually use memes, how they weaponize them.
How far into the boys are you?
I finished it.
Oh, okay.
I finished it yesterday.
Well, what are they on? Like episode 4 or 5 now?
4.
Okay. So you saw the use of memes.
Yep. I also meant to tell you, now that you brought it up, that I didn't get the same thing that you got from the scene with Homelander and his son.
Wait, you went robot for a second, but you said Homelander and his son?
I didn't get the same feeling that you got from the scene with Homelander and his son. Meaning, I didn't feel that Homelander was afraid of his son.
We didn't have this conversation.
Yeah, we did.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, we did.
It wasn't with me. I never said Homelander was afraid of his son.
Oh yeah, I said I heard he sunned him, and you were like, oh yeah, and Homelander looked like really concerned, and he was like, you were like, let me just say that he got out of there.
No, this wasn't me, Ish. We didn't have this conversation.
You're the only person that I discussed the show with.
You're talking about Homelander and his son?
Yeah. You were the one who told me that, because I hadn't seen it, and I was like, the last thing I know, I saw the preview, Homelander pushed him off the roof. And you were like, yeah, and then he does something with his mom, and his son gets really pissed. And I'm like, yeah, I heard his son kind of suns him.
No, Ish. This was not me. We didn't have this conversation.
We did, Mike.
No.
We definitely did.
No. When?
All right. Just a couple days ago, when we were talking about different shows.
I just watched the last episode of
everybody just watched the last. Everybody just watched the last episode of The Boys. It just came out Friday.
Yeah, but we never had a discussion about Homelander's son.
We did.
Unless I couldn't hear you, and I was talking about someone else.
No, we did. I'm not gonna like drive it home. Like there's no. I mean, we're just gonna go back and forth about whether we did or we didn't. There's no point. It's not that big of a, you know what I mean?
But the only thing I know about Homelander's son is he shows that he has powers at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. But he doesn't really come off like that.
Well, yeah, that was what I opened up this part of the conversation with. That it doesn't come off the way that you described it to me. But you're
honestly,
saying that you didn't, so that's fine.
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's fine. There's, the
only thing I know about his son is, at first I thought he didn't have any powers, and then apparently he does,
mm-hmm.
and that his father was being a bully to him. But as far as being afraid, I mean, Homelander is.
I kind of disagree there too. I don't think that his father was being a bully to him. think he was being a bully to his mother for sure.
I mean, I think that's his. I think that's just kind of who he is. Like, I don't think he thinks he's being a
I don't.
bully. And
I no, but what I'm saying is I didn't see him as being a bully. I think that he genuinely is interested in his son's life. I'm keeping it real. I'm not trying to be an apologist for one of the worst characters on TV.
yeah,
And I also think that from a perspective of someone who reads comic books, that I think Homelander understands that the way his son has to be raised is different than everyone else. Like you're going to on some level be Superman, which means if you sneeze wrong, you could kill somebody.
right.
You know what I mean? If you're having a laugh fest with your friends and you pat someone on the back the wrong way, you're gonna break every bone in their body.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I genuinely got the idea. I think he was being a bully and imposing an imposition to his mother for sure.
Yeah.
I think he genuinely I think he thinks that his way is the best way for his son, and in his case and only his case, which is specifically unique, I don't think he's wrong. But it just so happens that we're talking about a guy who's reprehensible. You understand what I'm saying? So it kind of transplants to most situations that you see him in. It's kind of hard for you to get over the fact that this guy is reprehensible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even for me. But I personally, that's all just my take on it. Like if I were to have to write my opinion on it, I would say that in his son's case and only his son's case, I don't think he was being a bully to him. Like I don't think he was particularly mean to his son at all. I think he was absolutely trying to operate. Sometimes, I used to have conversations with my daughter and my nephew where there were certain things that I needed him to understand, but I needed to be delicate. And it's very hard because this is what it is. Like this is really what it is. But because you're children, I have to be delicate. So sometimes I have to say things maybe through gritted teeth, or maybe I have to take a step back and figure out a way to say it. And just in the process of doing so, someone who observes that might see it some type of way. You understand what I'm saying?
You're in their life though. This guy is not in this kid's life. Tries to play catch with him, and all of a sudden he has him on the roof, saying, "No, you're going to jump off of this roof," and the kid's scared, saying, "No."
Well, he plays catch with him. He plays catch with him. He doesn't have him on the roof immediately thereafter. But keep in mind, the kid was warming to his father. Like he wanted to go outside with his father, which led to him getting pushed off the roof. He said to his mom when she tried to prevent it, he's like, "Mom, can I go with him?"
Yeah, he didn't think he was going to get pushed off the roof.
Right, but that's partially his mom's fault too. Like you're not raising a normal kid. You're raising a kid that can kill people accidentally and very easily. I'm not saying what he did was right. What I'm saying is, so if I push my son off the roof and my son is Superman, am I really bullying my son? My son doesn't know that he's Superman, but if I we're talking again. That's why I use the word a uniquely special case.
There are other ways to teach people, right? It's like the old.
Yeah, but hold on, Mike. Hold on, Mike. Listen to the point I'm making, though. Just listen to the point I'm making. When you say there are other ways to teach people, again, that's why I use the term uniquely special. Like this is Superman. So pushing him off the roof is not going to hurt him at all.
But it did hurt him.
No, but it didn't really hurt him. He wasn't hurt at all. He was shocked, but he wasn't physically hurt at all. Like he wasn't physically hurt at all. Didn't break up. He was literally, he wasn't hurt. Didn't even cry. He got pushed off the roof on his face. Like he didn't even cry. That's what I'm getting at. No, I'm sorry to have cut you off. Go on. I'm sorry.
No, I just don't see it that way. I mean, he's still a kid. He has no idea that he has these powers. I mean, if you want to teach the kid to fly, let him run and jump in the air and float a bit first. Don't go from 0 to 100. Don't push him off the roof. Even if he didn't break his bones, that doesn't mean it didn't hurt the kid.
Well, I mean, I don't think it hurt the kid. I mean, Homelander is Superman. That's who he's meant to be.
Yeah, but I feel like you weren't looking at the kid's face though. You're like,
No, I looked at his face. I felt like the kid was in shock.
well, that's not good.
I mean, I guess it's not good, but what's not what do you, I guess. But I mean, we're not talking about a normal kid. We're talking about something totally unique.
Yeah, but even unique beings have like similarities, and like this is my problem with that character, is that that's what he thinks. He thinks because this kid is Superman that there's no consequence to behaving that way, and that's just simply not true. This
Well, I
kid
mean,
still
I think.
has feelings, and like he's still a kid.
Well, I mean, I think that's the fault of his mom.
I
think
don't
his
understand
mom
this
is-
fault. I don't understand this fault thing. His
Well,
mom
because-
didn't push him off the roof.
Well, because yeah, but his mom put him in a situation where he was shocked because he has no clue.
Yeah,
like
she
Spider-
doesn't want him to. His
Yeah,
father's
but
a maniac.
that's whether she wants him to or not is a problem. Like Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. You can't just ignore the responsibility, and then your kid kills someone one day.
Well, from her position, the kid hasn't killed anyone, right?
Yeah,
But from her position, what she's doing has been working all these years.
well, but that doesn't mean she's right. I understand what you're saying from her position. That doesn't take away the fault in her position.
I don't know why it has to be a fault. It's just a different position.
Well, it's like saying, I know I have Superman's son and I'm going to pretend like I don't.
She could decide that, at a certain point, they can come to that discussion, or, maybe when he's going through puberty or something. Or
But she made it clear that she doesn't want him. She wants him to be normal. She made it clear.
she says that now, but
yeah,
but
I'm only judging based upon what we know.
Yeah, and what we know is he hasn't hurt anyone yet.
Say again?
I mean, at this point, he hasn't hurt anyone.
But we also know that he is capable of it, very capable. And we also know that she's living like he's not. She's pretending like he's not what he is.
Well, maybe she thinks he's too young to deal with this stuff yet.
Okay, but that still doesn't take away any of the onus from her that she has, okay, you're too young to deal with it, but you've given him no preparation, none. You don't know anything about this. You can't know more about being a superhero, growing up a superhero, or raising a superhero than Homelander or another superhero.
Sure, Homelander hasn't raised.
He grew up from a superhero.
Yeah, Homelander cares about himself.
It doesn't. Clearly, he cares about his son. Clearly, he cares about. Hold on, he cares about his son.
That's like saying I can raise, a boy because I was a boy and became a man.
No, that's like saying
there.
I know more about what it's like to be around people with superpowers than you do. I know more about what it's like to go through puberty with superpowers than you do. Because Homelander did. Remember, Homelander was raised from birth.
No, listen, Homelander went through some shit, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a good teacher or a good dad.
I didn't say that. I said that he knows more about it. He's definitely more equipped to deal with someone who has superpowers than she is. His level.
I don't think that's what being a parent is about. I think that's small.
But you're going somewhere else with it. I'm just talking about dealing with his son who has superpowers.
And that's the problem with that character. Is he's like a one-trick pony. He can only help someone hone their powers because he's a shitty person and he's not a dad.
I don't think he was a bad dad, nor do I think he doesn't care about his son.
He hasn't even been around.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he doesn't care.
I didn't say whether he cared. I said he wasn't a good. You have to be there in order to be like.
Well, you say he doesn't care about anyone but himself.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen. Like he can say
I think
he
he
cares
cared.
and like.
I think the show demonstrated that he cares.
Yeah, but you know what though? Like, there's an arrogance where you want to see someone else like become what you become, and you see yourself in them. So maybe that's caring, maybe it's not.
I didn't see that though. I just saw him caring to the point where he cried over it.
Well, I mean, okay, and the guy showed emotions for once. I
Yeah,
mean,
for
that's
his
like,
son.
yeah,
It's not the first time he showed emotions, but definitely for his son. Like nothing about the writing, nothing about that anything to me that they translate in those scenes said that he does not care about his son. Like nothing about that led me to the like I actually to the contrary. Like okay, he absolutely does. There is depth to his character. He does care about more than just the three people, because the son is now the third that he's shown feelings towards. Son is now the third person that he's shown feelings towards.
yeah. I guess I just don't think that that's enough to say that this person. I don't know. I just don't. I don't feel the need to blame the mother for anything. I think she made
Oh,
a choice based on some fucked up situations she's been in.
yeah, the situation she chose to be in.
That guy's abusive. Like, what do you mean she chose?
Well, she chose. See, I know the story. I don't want to spoil anything. Like she chose to be in the situation.
Didn't he force himself on her to have
No,
that kid?
no. If I
Well,
don't want to spoil it, I don't want to. I don't want to.
Different character.
I don't want. I don't want
to. A different character.
Say again.
Must be confusing that with a different character.
No, you're not. It's just I can't spoil it for you because it's going to be one of the biggest, greatest moments in television history, and I know the story. He didn't force himself on her at all. At all. And he would have never forced himself on her.
Well, don't tell me anything I haven't seen.
Okay. Yeah.
Seen
I'm not going to. But that's what I'm trying, like, wait a minute.
But
like,
that is a reveal, right? They haven't said that yet.
What?
What you just said, that he didn't force himself on her. Right?
They never said that he did. They said in the television series that she made it seem like he did, but we find out that he didn't, or we already know that he didn't. Remember, everybody lied to Billy the Butcher and made him think that he forced himself on her, but then it was revealed that she was actually seeing him.
Okay. I must have missed that.
But the big reveal is way big. Like you're never gonna see it coming. I have never spoiled it in the years in the 2 years that the show has been on, and I refuse to spoil it. I won't. It's a major reveal that's gonna be one of the biggest moments in TV. It's gonna be huge because of how popular the show is. People just aren't gonna see it coming, and when they do, like their jaws are gonna drop. But Homelander is a bad person. He's reprehensible, but he's not as bad as what you're painting him out to be. And the reason why I'm saying that, because I know it's not just I know the backstory, but I know what part of the backstory that they've dropped on TV already to let us know that he's not as bad as we think he is, even though he's as bad as they come. Like they've already dropped stuff to let us know. They've shown instances who he cares about and why. Like they've shown this to us already. The third person they shown was his son. The first person was the director who he killed, but then the second person was her son. Because if you listen, they don't tell you. I mean, they don't show you, but they say, well, the director's son, the baby, is found in a yard 17 miles away from the house. See what I'm saying? Keep in mind, Billy Butcher was framed for destroying the house.
Right.
He didn't kill the baby. Homelander didn't kill the baby. He left the baby somewhere safe where it could be found.
Yeah, I'm only treating these characters based on what I know and what
Yeah, but
I've seen.
this is what we were told on the television series. They told us this.
I'm regardless of not killing a baby. That's not my litmus test for the way that I'm judging these characters.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is I know the backstory, and I said, and because of that, I know what they have shown us on TV.
Right, but what I'm saying is, according to what I've seen, I have no reason to blame this mother who's like living in these extraordinary circumstances for not teaching her kid to use something that like draws like a lot of attention and gets people like killed left and right. That's not. I'm not gonna blame someone for that.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I get it.
I think
get
as people who watch these shows, it can be fun to do that, but I don't think that most of us. I don't think that we're thinking about just like how dangerous this whole situation is.
Oh
And,
yeah,
like,
all of the people in the forums that I kick it on, we're all like, yo, Becky. But then again, we know Becky is like, come on, Becky. Like, come on, you're raising a nuclear weapon. You have a nuclear weapon in your house.
Right, but that's like from, I don't know, I feel like that's from like an alpha male point of view.
Nah, it's just from it's from a Spider-Man who's very much a beta, who's with great power comes great responsibility, and you're just not going to be responsible.
Right, but like, I don't know, I think we're used to characters who are able to do such extraordinary stuff that we kind of take it with a grain of salt, that it's just this easy thing to do. Like, yeah, you know, I go home to little baby boy Superman and raise him every day. You know, he's just like all the other kids. I'm a super mom. I think like this level of not wanting to do that is actually more realistic than what we normally see. I think most people would not want to deal with that level of like most people would not want themselves to be responsible for that. Like, what if I start, you know, turning this kid on to like his power is too easy and he throws like temper tantrums and like.
So she lives in a world where superheroes are readily accessible. First of all, like they're on TV every day. Like this is the world that she lives in, where it's commonplace for superheroes to be in this world. So there are outlets and places that she can go. Rather than choosing cognitive dissonance, mind you, the television show shown us that she knew what she signed up for.
Where could she go? Like a Professor X like school or something?
So in this world, there are literally thousands of superheroes and superhero groups. Literally. If you watch season 1, they start going down the list of all the different superhero teams and all the different resources. Like literally, like she lives in a world where it's not uncommon to see a superhero like regularly. Like
so he could join a team and learn how to use his powers.
I'm saying that she could go to any of a number of available resources and say, listen, I have my kid is the product of such and such. I want to have him tested. And they would test him. And they're like, okay, are there programs or what have you? Absolutely, in this world. I mean, come on. Shark Boy is in a program. But my point is, Mike, what you're discounting is what you know from season 1 and what they showed us in season 1, that she knew what she signed up for. You were sleeping with, like, you knew what you were doing.
Okay, I mean, regardless of what she knew she was doing, I mean, she's here now, right?
so she doesn't have to bear the burden of that responsibility.
What do you mean?
Like understanding what the potential is by sleeping with somebody and getting pregnant with, like, you don't have to, you get to just a pass from that.
What do you mean a pass?
You're saying, well, she's here now, so are you saying dismiss that she knew what she was doing?
I'm not saying dismiss it. I mean, listen, we can whip her like all we want.
I'm not whipping
and,
her.
like,
I'm not whipping her. What I'm doing is I'm not whipping her or bashing her. What I'm saying is I'm not taking the onus off her any more than I'm taking it off of Homelander. Is what I'm saying. I'm saying Homelander probably should have been there from the beginning, from the jump. And I'm saying that from the jump, she also probably had a responsibility to recognize, like, this is great power. And I can't, one, pretend that it doesn't exist. And two, if I acknowledge it, maybe I got to have the kid crawl before he walks. But I have to realize that a responsibility comes with this.
right. Yeah, I mean, that's true. My thing is, this world exists.
This is a good conversation, by the way.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, we exist in a world where Homelander does horrible things to people because he doesn't want them on his team. I mean, this is the kind of person we're talking about. I don't know. Maybe it just seems safer not to have someone deal with those kind of things.
But see, she's not privy to that.
Right.
As far as we know in this world, she's not privy to how Homelander interacts with his teammates.
Well, she knows he's a murderer, right?
No.
No? She just thinks that he's a
jerk.
God.
Like what have we seen that would lead her to believe he's a murderer?
Oh, I don't know.
The world doesn't consider him to be a murderer.
No, the world doesn't. I thought maybe she was privy. I mean, again.
Okay. So based on what we've seen, I'm not saying that there aren't things that remain to be seen, because I don't know, and I don't know how it diverges from comics. Keep in mind, she's not alive in the comics.
Okay.
Which is not a spoiler because she's never been alive in the comic books. The comic book starts with her dead. There is no kid in the comics. There is no kid.
Okay.
She's dead. She's the reason why Billy Butcher hates Homelander. She's dead because she died in childbirth. This kid, one night while she was sleeping in her room, Billy Butcher wakes up to this kid hovering over her body, and the kid had just decided, I'm ready to be born, and just ripped out of her stomach.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so she's dead. There is a new series out which just ended. That's 5 issues called Dear Becky, which is why I know she knew what she was signing up for, which they're not going to cover on a TV show. But Dear Becky, they just came out, and it tells the story of everything that happened before The Boys issue #1, which came out in 2006.
Okay.
Mind you, The Boys finished. Issue 75 was the last issue, so it only has 75 issues. See what I'm saying? And then that was it. And then because the television series is so popular, Garth Ennis decided at the beginning of this year, I'm going to write a follow-up story, which is a prequel story called Dear Becky, and that just tells Becky's story. Mind you, Becky's dead. So the TV show has already diverged from the comics dramatically because there is no Becky. There is no son, of Homelander. You understand what I'm saying? It's diverged. What I do know for a fact is that they're still going to follow the same plot, and you're still going to get the big twist that you got at the end of the comic book. And I know it for a fact because I see the twist every episode. It's there. It's always in front of your face, and I'm not going to say any more. You understand what I'm saying? So if you read the comics, you clearly know that's where they're going with it. But I'm not going to say anymore. there's going to be a major twist. Mega, huge, mega
Yeah,
twist.
I don't want to know.
I'm not going to spoil it for you at all. Yeah, I'm not giving you any. It's just going to be, it's mega. That's, everybody kind of knows that, but they just kind of don't know what it is. And I'm not going to, on that note, I'm going to leave you there, though, because I definitely want to go to sleep because it's 10:30. I want to literally
Oh yeah, no doubt.
go to bed so I can be out of here by 3:30.
Okay.
All right, man.
All right, man. All right, have a good one.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.